Is it all right with the door open?
Yeah. Just as long as you don't get too hot or sunburnt. That's a big thing. Yeah.
Well, this is our third, I was going to say walking podcast, but it's not a walking podcast because we've driven here and we're just sitting in the car.
Yeah. The truck's going by because they're repairing the road up the road.
Yeah. We have brought you down to the side of the seaside, in Nausa, in Paros.
Nausa Bay.
Pardon?
Nausa Bay.
Nausa Bay, in Nausa, in Paros, in Greece. We're still in Greece. And it's so typical because we wanted to bring you back down to that little bench that we sat at the first time we made this, because we had so many people say, oh, I love the sound of the waves. And so we thought, oh, we'd bring you back down here and have a chat. And we just got down to the bench, and there is a lady sat on the bench with her bike's propped up against the side of the bench, and she's talking into her phone, and she's got a big sheet of paper in front of her. So we think she's probably just like dictating something.
She'll be dictating something, or she's been doing something, but she seems quite happy to be doing what she's doing. She's got a big smiley face.
Yeah. So we've just pulled up alongside her at the side of on like the gravelly bit alongside the bench. Just make her feel a bit uncomfortable, so she moves. No, not really. No, we've parked a bit away from her and by the side of the sea. And I've opened the door of the car. We're sitting in our rental car, and I've opened the door of the car, and I can literally touch the water with my hand. We're that close to the water. So this road that we're on, another thing that someone said, they said, can you please just describe where you are so we can get a setting for where you are, which is a fantastic idea, and I really appreciate that reminder. So we are, like I say, at the side of the road. The sea that is lapping next to us, the waves that you can hear, is aqua blue. How would you describe? Is that it? It's aqua, isn't it? There's no other word for it.
There is an Aegean blue in the deeper parts of it, but where it comes shallower, it's more turquoisey. Looks very sort of Caribbean-y, doesn't it? Like,
yeah.
You know, that sort of Caribbean sea blue that it is. But there's nothing quite like the Aegean, that blueness from it. It's just that deep blue in where it's the deep parts. And there's a little ferry going across to the beach, where they drop people off at Cornbeathras Beach. There's a little island in the middle with a small...
Of the bay, we're in a bay.
Yeah, there's a small island in it with a beautiful little church on it that we used to swim out to from years ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
And in the far distance of the bay is where me and Liz used to work in a cafe at a place called Monastery. But that cafe's no longer there, is it? It's been knocked down.
So right in front of us, there is a range of hills that are the colour of, if you've ever been to Central Otago in New Zealand, it's that colour. It's that yellowy, like very, very, very pale green, like mixed with yellow. So barren looking, but beautiful colour set against the blue Aegean Sea. And on the hills are dotted lots of little white houses with flat roofs. And to the left there's palm trees, and it's a winding road, like Bryce said, that goes to a beach along the road there, and so you can hear the traffic on the left because people are making their way to the beach. So yeah, I think that describes where we are, doesn't it, Brian?
Yeah, and in the far distance there's a whole bunch of mega yachts just moored up because the wind's got up again today, and that part of the bay is very calm, isn't it?
Would you like a mega yacht?
Well, you wouldn't say no to one, would you, if someone just said, "Hey, mate, there's a mega yacht." They're not huge, these yachts, but they're still up there, aren't they?
Yeah, but I'm looking out at those yachts now. There's 5 big, massive, huge yachts. I mean, they're like floating, flipping
hotels.
And I reckon if you were on one of those yachts, you'd look out and always be looking at everyone else's yacht and thinking, oh, they've got nicer windows than me, they've got a better antenna.
Yeah.
You know,
Or
they've got a
you've got the
better
latest
place.
version.
Yeah, you've got the best place because
Yeah.
you're facing the right way. I don't know. I just think it would be really.
Mine's
don't
bigger
know.
than yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a anyway, I was going to say that's a whole conversation about, because we had a brilliant conversation the other night about money, didn't we? About money
Yeah.
mindset and how so basically rewind a little bit without going into too much detail. Sonny is working online and he is building this business and it's doing really well and he's earning good money. And he was telling us that the people in his niche, he's got a Minecraft server where people come and play on his Minecraft server. And yeah, again, it's a huge story but that's what he's doing. And he was telling us about people in his niche. They make thousands of dollars a day, you know, and like tens of thousands of dollars. It's big money, you know. These people that you just think, don't you, like, oh no one makes that much money.
Well, those guys who've got those yachts certainly do.
Yeah, but you imagine that people who've got the yachts are people like.
They tend to be like corporate companies,
Yeah.
and it's bought with a corporate
Yeah.
account, so they can take clients on board and various things like that. And some of them are just people who have got lots and lots of money. And
So we started having this conversation at dinner, the four of us, and we were talking about money. And Sonny has got no qualms whatsoever in saying, I want to be really rich. He just says, I want to be mega rich. And I said, and I was really honest, you know, and I said to him, didn't I? Well, we both, well, I think it's me more than you, is that makes me feel really uncomfortable, and I'm glad you don't feel like that. I'm glad that we haven't passed that on to him, you know, this whole people who have got money are like just, oh, who do they think they are? That just because they've got money, they think they're so special, you know. And we had this big conversation.
It's, the association with money is what you're saying, isn't it? Yeah.
Just that growing up in our household, because we were working class, you know, my mum and dad claiming the dole and all the rest of it. We lived in a council house. So to us, my mum and dad, certainly my dad, not so much my mum, but my dad, told us, told us that rich people were bad, you know? They were snobs, they thought they were better than you.
Look down the nose at you.
Yeah, they look down the nose at you. So you grow up, and you can't help but grow up with that mindset of, I never want to be rich because I don't want people to hate me, and I don't want to be a snob, and I don't, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that but it still makes me feel uncomfortable. I'll be honest with you, when I hear, I don't know, you know, when I hear him say that, it just makes me feel like, oh my God, well, you don't say that.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to say that, but he is allowed to say it.
But you know what is different as well? Is we grew up in the UK, in England.
Yeah.
Where there is still, to this day, a class distinction of, if you have money, you'll go up a class or something like that. You know, you'll be someone different. And so you associate wealthy people being upper class, and they look down at you because they are in a different class, or they've got, you know, royalty or old money, as they call it, like, you know. And moving to New Zealand, and I would imagine it's pretty similar in parts of America, the likes of Florida and stuff, and things where people make good money, but it's okay to make money and it's accepted. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Because,
it does.
you know, there's mega wealthy people all over the world, but you do. When I grew up, you do have that association to people who have got lots of money. You think, oh yeah, smart ass, or
I know, and it's
this,
not
that, and the
right.
other.
It's
No,
not
it's
right.
not, no.
But I can't. It's something that I'm really, really working on. And what we're going to do if, like, Sonny turns into a millionaire, and then we've got to say to people, our son's a millionaire.
Oh, well, you have to take your cap off when he walks in the room.
I know.
Yeah, but that's the sort of thing that you think, isn't it? Like, you know, the boss of the factory's coming in, you know, and it's just like, they're just people at the end
I'll
of the
tell
day.
you what's a good book is that it's called The Millionaire Mindset, and that is such a good book for people like me who have a problem owning what they've got, you know, saying, yes, I've worked hard for this money and I can afford it. You know, just, and I want. There's nothing wrong with having money. There's nothing wrong with earning good money and being rich. There's nothing wrong with that, Liz. It doesn't make you a bad person.
No, and the thing is, we have always, because we know how hard we've worked, and here I am explaining
exactly.
how hard
See, you're
you've
doing
worked.
it again.
But when you buy something, you then tell people, oh, it's this much. It's not that expensive.
I know.
And it's like people
you don't
look at
want
you
them to think you're rich.
Yeah, but some people just like, why are you telling me how much it is?
Well, because they haven't grown up with that mindset.
I know. I've bought these pair of Ray-Bans.
I know, I got these from the charity shop.
They're on special. They were $100, like, not $300 like they normally are. But nobody cares.
Well,
but
no.
We think they do.
We do.
Because you don't want to think, oh, you're doing all right, aren't you?
So we're going to tell you what we're going to be talking about today, so you don't think we're just why aren't we bloody rich?
Yeah.
Let's see, has she gone off that bench yet? Oh, she's moved. Should we go? Oh no, she's left all her stuff on the bench. No. She's sitting down on the rocks now, taking photos. Aww.
Yeah, you don't want to push her out. I know you do, but I don't.
Well, it's a nice little bench in the shade, Bri.
Yeah, but it's like it'll be our turn soon enough.
Okay. So what we want to talk about is we want to talk to you about relying on your memory and the things you tell yourself that you think you remember as the truth, and then when you're shown the evidence, which not many people get to see this, I must admit, it's a complete and utter crap. I think I probably just sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, but
no,
when you tell yourself, oh, I was rubbish on that, and then you go back and you watch yourself and you weren't rubbish, or you forget your memory. I want to talk about memory.
Yeah, you're talking about memory, but when you're saying I was rubbish on that, nobody has a clue what you're talking about.
No, I know, but I'm going to say that. But I'm just talking about memory and about how we tell ourselves a story. Oh, that happened like that.
Yeah.
And then when you actually talk to someone or go back and watch a video of yourself or listen to a podcast about yourself, and you talk to someone else who was there at the same time as you, and they say, no, that's not how it happened. And you're like, no, it did. I was a right cow then, or I was just said all this stupid stuff. And they're like, no, you didn't. You didn't sound like that at all. And it's your memory, because what you tell yourself of how you've been.
Yeah. Yeah. And that comes
See
down.
If you can explain it better.
Yes, but that comes down to even things like you're there with your sister or your brother, if you've got a sister or a brother, and you talk about something that happened when you were a kid, and the other sibling will turn around and go, that never happened like that.
I know.
I didn't see it like that. Or I didn't. No. You came then and you did this and this, that, or the other.
Yeah. Do you know, that's a really good point.
And it's so true, isn't it? You know, it's how your memory distorts over time. But I think what you were saying is more...
This only happened 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you recorded a podcast 3 days ago, and then you go and listen to that podcast again because you're about to edit it up or add stuff to it, and it can be completely different feel to what you actually thought you said. But I know it was back in Athens, and that was 6 weeks ago, wasn't it?
I'll tell the story. Oh, Brian, look at them over there. She's getting ready to go to the beach and he's just sitting on his phone.
Yeah.
So to the left of us is an apartment, and we can see on their balcony like little
they're about the same age as us.
Yeah, they are, and she's flicking all her hair and rubbing hair oil into the ends of her hair. She looks really nice. She's got a long white shirt on and a bag over her shoulder. Oh, she's putting a blue hat on.
Blue trilby looking hat.
Blue trilby hat. She's getting herself all ready for the beach, and he's just sitting there just hunched over on his phone, isn't he?
Yeah.
Anyway, so...
Where was I? What was I talking about? My memory?
I can't remember. So, do you remember, if you listen to this podcast, you will remember me talking to you, I think the first time we did one of these behind the scenes podcasts, telling you about a video I made in Athens about Paris, right? And I said, oh, I'm dreading releasing that. And you, Bri, said to me, why are you dreading it? And I said, oh, well, because I can't exactly remember what I said, but I know it wasn't good. And Brian said to me, well, what do you mean it wasn't good? Why? And I said, well, I know that I swore, and I know that I was crying, and I know I just started ranting, and So in my head, and we only recorded that a month ago, what, 5 weeks ago?
6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago.
It's 6 weeks in Athens, that first week in Athens that we were there, and we were now been in Greece for 6 weeks.
Yeah, we've been in Greece for 6 weeks. So just to rewind back a little bit, we came back, Brian went to Norway for a month, I went to Paris for a month, we met up in Athens and we recorded 2 podcasts. One about Brian going to Norway, where I constantly interrupted him and tried to be funny and gave myself a hard time about that, and then rectified it with realising it was grief and panic and trying to cover up for the fact that I just wanted to bawl my eyes out really and just tell him how I really felt. And another podcast we made was about me going to Paris, and like I say, we recorded it and then we put it in we put it into one side and we said we'll edit that up when we get to the islands, when we get to Greece, Paros. And 2 days ago, it went out on YouTube today, actually, on Thursday, and it's going out as an audio in a couple of days. So by the time you listen to this podcast, you'll have heard it anyway. I started editing it, and I remember I'd said to you, didn't I? I said, just leave me alone in the room because I want to listen to this by myself.
Yep.
Normally I don't edit. Brian
yeah, this
does
is a
all the
video
editing.
podcast that you're going to put B-roll on, so
Yeah.
and you had all the B-roll on your phone or
Yeah.
whatever it was on camera.
Yeah, I don't normally edit the stuff. Is she gone? Oh, no, she's just sitting there still. Are you okay? Are you not too hot?
No, I'm fine.
So anyway, so I set myself up in the bedroom in the apartment that we're in. I put the air conditioning on. I said to Brian, I just need some time just to sit and watch this Paris video because I was dreading it. I thought I'm just going to watch it and cringe and delete the whole thing and just say forget it. That's stuffed because I told myself that it was angry, it was emotional, I was swearing. Anyway, I started watching it. It was an hour and 20 minutes long. And I started watching it and I was watching myself, or watching me and you talk, and I was waiting for this angry outburst, emotional, swearing person to appear,
Yep.
and she never did.
No.
And I watched it all the way through, and it's emotional, don't get me wrong, because I'm telling you how I felt in Paris, but it's actually a really, really vulnerable, touching, honest, calm, actually, not angry
That's
at
because
all.
I was interviewing you.
Yeah, I know. And it is. And you put your hand on my knee and you're interviewing me really nicely, and you know, you're just thinking, what? So where did I get that from? Where did
Probably the one before.
No, it wasn't.
And
Brian.
you've mixed them together.
No, it wasn't.
No?
It wasn't. And so this is my point. So bear with me here, because this is I've been thinking about this, and this is what I think. I read somewhere the other week, because I'm reading so much at the moment because we've got all this
you can
time.
go to the beach.
And it's bliss.
Yeah.
Even though Tess said to us today, don't want to go to the beach every day. Well, you're in the Greek islands, so
I know.
what else are you going to do?
Yeah, because in 3 weeks you're going to be in England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I read somewhere the other day and it said, so what did it say? It said, remember that people can't see your thoughts. And here's what I think, right?
Right.
I think I thought a load of stuff,
Yeah.
and I thought to myself, oh, I know what people are going to say when I release this. They're just going to say, oh yeah, you're rubbish. And I'm going to say to them, no, I can say what I want. F off if you don't like it. No.
Yeah.
I did all this thing in my head, in my thoughts. And I've actually confused that with, I actually said it. And I
Yes.
didn't. It was
Yeah.
just thoughts in my head that no one else, well, apart from these people listening to the podcast now, because I've just admitted it, but no one else could see those thoughts.
No. Yeah.
Does it make sense?
No, it does make sense. But that's how we distort our own memory.
Yeah.
Every time. And then you almost distort it enough to go, no, that sounds a bit better. And that's where it sits. Whether it's better or worse, I don't know why you would make it worse, but you tend to distort it to make it better. You try to anyway. In your mind, you know, something happened when you were younger and it's like, oh no, but it's because of that or this. Yeah, it's a bit like when you've I don't know, you've got a mark on your face or a piece of food in the corner, and it's just like you just realise you've sat there talking to someone for the last 20 minutes, but you wipe it off and it's gone. In the mirror, and you think, oh, that
right.
was, and you distort the memory, like, well, it was never there. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Not really.
You have a piece of food stuck in the corner of your mouth.
Yeah.
You go to the mirror
Yeah.
in the bathroom. You've had a wee and you wash your hands, and it's like, oh shit, there's a piece of something in your teeth or something. You take it
Right.
out, and it was never there, because that person just had to look at that piece of food for the last hour while he's talked to you, but they've never said anything because they're too embarrassed. You know what I'm trying to say? Does it not make sense to you?
No.
Or how you distort it in your mind?
Yeah, not really.
As in, you just wipe it out your memory and go, it was never there. So, or that makes sense to me, because it's almost like you let yourself off with it.
You know, the other night when there was a real atmosphere. I can't remember what had happened. Either Tess had said something, or we'd had an argument with Tess, or I don't know. We haven't had an argument. See, this is the thing.
What?
The four of us living in the apartment, we're doing
Yes.
so well. We are doing...
At times.
No, we are, Brian.
We are.
We
Yeah,
are
I know
doing
we
so
are.
well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's perfect,
If it
but
were-
considering we have been together for nearly 2 months in that tiny apartment with Sonny streaming every day, we've got to be
Yeah.
out by 1 o'clock because he starts going live at 1 o'clock and he needs silent, he needs space,
Yeah.
which we are giving him. Why did you just look at your watch? Is it nearly 1 o'clock?
That's what I was checking. How long have we got before we've got to go
Oh, right.
to make the move, to go back and get the stuff and get out?
And then
Hold on.
we've got Tess, who isn't a beach lover. And then you've got me and Brian, who just want to keep running off and podcasting together. And we've got one car that only Brian's insured for, so we're all stuck because only he can drive it and we need him to drive us everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think we're doing really well. But what I was going to say is the other night there was a bit of I don't know, or do you know what it'll be? Why aren't we eating on time? Why are we eating so late? Right? So the four of us are there and we dinner isn't ready and it's getting to 8:30. Me and Brian just like getting pissed on the balcony because
Nothing else to do.
Sonny doesn't care because he's just glued to his computer, and poor Tess wants to eat her dinner. So I
Yeah.
think she said something like, when are we eating, why aren't we eating dinner yet? And then you took me into the bedroom and you said, come here, I've got something to play to you. And you played me that song.
Glenn Fry, the heat is on.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, wasn't it Under Pressure?
No, it's the heat is on. It's the heat is on.
Yeah.
It's on the street, because we just like, as in the heat from Tess, like
Yeah.
the pressure, and the guy, the pressure's high.
She just likes eating early.
I
And
know.
she's got parents who eat late.
What, in Greece?
I
We don't
know.
normally eat that late, but it's just, I don't know, because the routine we have is we tend to like, Sonny will finish doing what he's doing around about 4, and sometimes we'll eat something at 4 and then eat late at 9 or
Yeah.
10 o'clock even, because it's just the way of the life of that type Greek thing. Or if we eat before we go out, we're getting a bit hungry, and she is obviously getting hungry by 8 o'clock at night, because it's been like 8 hours without food or something, like,
This is our routine. We go to the beach. We go to the beach at 1 because we've got to be out the house. So we go to the beach. Sometimes we take our computers down to the cafe or taverna. What, like yesterday we did. Work for a couple of
A
hours.
bit hot though, wasn't it?
It was a bit hot. Yeah. €4.50 for a bottle of water as
It
well.
was
What a
39
rip-off.
degrees yesterday.
It was so hot.
So,
They closed,
yeah.
closed the Acropolis yesterday.
Double it another 30, so it's about 110 in Fahrenheit.
So, yeah, we go to the beach and then Brian goes and picks Sonny up again at 4 because that's when he stopped streaming and making his videos. He comes down to the beach for a couple of hours and now it's like 6 and then it's just getting to that beautiful temperature
Yeah.
where you can go in for a swim and you're just sitting there reading. But this is when Tess starts going, when are we going home?
I know.
And it's when I'm just getting into it because we're all there.
We're all relaxing. We all go out
relaxing.
for a swim together and
Yeah.
everything, don't we? And it's lovely. It's lovely and warm. And if you dive down about 10 feet, it's freezing cold.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
divine. It's just beautiful. And everyone just goes calm. At about 6:30, everyone on the beach just goes calm. And then we try and push it till about 7, but then you can see Tess is like, what are we having for
Yeah,
dinner
because
tonight?
she knows it's going to be, by the time we go home, have a shower,
Yeah.
it's going to be 9 o'clock before we're even thinking about eating. Poor girl.
I know.
She's just
Poor
only 21.
Tess, I know.
Yeah.
And she's really health conscious, and she can't stand eating late because she knows it's not good for her.
I know. And
And
she doesn't eat masses when she eats because she's got this thing in her head that when I feel a little bit full, I'll stop eating. And then, so she won't finish what's on her plate sometimes.
That makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, but...
That's nearly as bad as Sonny saying he wants to be rich. Any child of mine that leaves food on their plate, I can't stand
Yeah,
it.
but you're not talking much, but I'm just
I know,
saying.
but just get it down you.
I know, but that's what she doesn't want to do because she just wants to think, I'll eat when I'm
Get
hungry.
it down you and then go to bed and let it sit
Yeah.
in your belly.
Let it sit in your belly for the next 6 hours and then you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning sweating, thinking, why hasn't the food gone down?
So yeah, we come home from the beach, it's about 7, we just mosey on into the apartment, and Ryan's like, oh, do you want a Cosmopolitan? You can just see, oh my God, now they're just going to get drunk for an hour and nothing is going to get
we
done.
never get drunk.
No, I
do we?
know.
I know, but it's just like,
We don't.
you have a cocktail.
Yeah,
'cause
we have
you're
a
on,
cocktail.
You're on your holidays.
Brian, you
understand.
don't have to justify yourself for having a cocktail.
Look at these two
See, look
people.
at these two,
Yeah. Look,
Jogging.
it's boiling hot.
They're jogging towards
Mr. Fit
us.
behind has greased himself up,
Oh,
so he's
she's got
shining
a
all
lovely,
over.
lovely body.
Oh, shit.
Yes, she has. Look at her belly. It's just rippling.
I know, but look, this is what you got to go through.
I know, and they don't look
It's like-
happy, do they,
no.
Brian?
Smile.
They look like they're in pain.
But what? I don't know why you do it. Why would you want to jog in this heat?
So you get a body that looks like that, that's why.
Good lord.
And you're not sat here, two bitter old bastards sitting in the front.
Where's my cocktail?
Why does my son want to be rich?
But they were eating at 6 last night and going to bed by 10.
Oh, she's still there now. She's taking more photos, that lady. Anyway, what was I saying?
So just go and push a bike in the sea.
Yeah. So what I was saying, going back to, I am getting round to what the thing about the memory, but going back to, so we come out, we have our cocktail at 7, and then it gets like 8, and Tessa's like, are you going to get showered? Because when are we going to start cooking dinner, or are we going out?
Yeah.
If she's cooking dinner, it's great, and she's a fantastic cook, and she'll start cooking at 8, but then she says to us, we are eating this at 8:30, so go and get showered now.
Yep.
But if we're in charge and we say, oh, we'll just go out, then sometimes we don't go out till 9, and then we're eating at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Anyway, so what it was one of those nights that Tess was cooking. She told us that dinner was going to be ready in half an hour. I still wasn't showered, you weren't showered, still had half a glass of Cosmopolitan left. And I think she said, oh, I'm sick of this. I'm not going to bother cooking anymore because it's too much pressure. And in my head, I said, oh, shut up.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. Oh, shut up. I'm in the Greek islands. What do you expect? Me and your dad, we're here together. We came here when we were in the 90s. And look at your brother, he's working really hard, trying to be a millionaire. And I said all these things in my head.
Yeah.
But then I just said to Tess, okay, darling, I'll go and get showered. So what I'm saying is she couldn't see those thoughts in my head.
No, she can't. But
So when we sit down for dinner and I think, is she being funny with me? Because I think that she knows what I've been thinking, but she doesn't. And that is, sometimes you think these things and I'm going to tell Brian that. That really annoys me about Brian. And I never say it to you because I somehow manage to keep my mouth shut. But then I think you're being funny with me because you know what I said, but then I have to remember I didn't say it, I only thought it.
yeah.
And that is going back to the thing in Athens of I didn't say those things.
Right.
I didn't say it out loud. Oh, I don't give a shit what people think about this, I'm just going to say what I feel like. I'm just going to, I'm just going to say how I felt. I know you all want to hear about how wonderful Paris was and I'm supposed to be happy and positive, but guess what? But I never said those things.
All right, but you might have said at a running commentary in your head in the interview, while we were doing the podcast, of those things.
No, I didn't. Not while we were doing the interview, but what I did was I came a couple of weeks later, I'm sitting on the beach in Nausa in Greece, and I'm thinking back to that podcast, and I'm thinking, I said that.
Yeah.
I said, I don't care what you think about this. And I couldn't distinguish between what was a memory and what I actually said.
Right.
And I did say to you the other day, God, my brain feels really fuzzy at the moment. I'm having trouble remembering stuff. And you said, oh, it's just because of everything that's going on, that's gone on. Do you remember?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
God, does this make me sound like a complete schizophrenic?
Oh no, this is what
nutter?
this is everybody out there. That's
I hope
you
so.
know, I'm staying on the same thing, but I just want to see. We talked about this. I don't know when we did talk about it. See, I can't remember when we talked about it, but we talked about AI last night at dinner, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was a real good hour or so conversation on it, and we all had our own say about, and even social media, we touched on that and everything, and it was great to hear all the different opinions at the table without anyone getting too pissed off. But would you like it when you feel a bit funny to have AI listening into your all-day conversation? So when you say, oh, what was that podcast like, and it just went, oh, you talked about this and this and this is what, and it could just replay a little bit of it, then you think, oh, actually it's all right. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do.
We get to do this.
Would you like that?
We can. I'm just saying, we get to do it because we podcast. So people who podcast almost journal parts of their life.
Yeah.
I know if they're just an interviewing podcast, then no, you're not. But the person, me and you just tend to talk about what we have been doing or what we're doing and what we're struggling with and what we're getting through. Like, at the moment, it's memory. It's just like, why is it distorted all the time? But whether I would like that or not, probably not. But yes, I would, because I absolutely love the Iron Man film, and he's got Jarvis, who is his companion basically, who is a computer that's talking back to him. But he can tell him everything that happened and what was what, and your heart rate's going up a little bit here, or that, or this, or do you know what I'm trying to say? It's constantly there with you, which is you. And whether it's a good thing, I don't know, but I think we're getting within the next 5 years that we'll have that. Whether you'd have it or not, I don't know. Your phone's listening all the time anyway. So, whether it would make it clear again, or do you just become lazy and not have to think about remembering anything?
Just become lazy,
and
you've got nothing good to talk about. Yeah. Because the reason to talk about this is, I think it's that same old thing when you, like you say, when you just said then about your siblings. Is it perspective? Is it, when I talk to my sister about growing up sometimes, she will say, oh, mum and dad did that. And I'm like, no, that Christmas, mum and dad, they did that at that Christmas. I was like, no, that Christmas was a really good Christmas.
Yeah.
But it was her experience of that. We both had exactly the exact same thing, Mum bought the chicken and put it on the table, or turkey on the table, and we all sat down, but I saw it one way and she saw it another way. And I think that, but is that memory or is that perspective? It's just that how you're feeling in yourself. I
think that it's true, because I've talked about it before, about perception and perspective.
Yeah, you have.
Because it's so important, and only 10% of people in the world grasp it.
Grasp what?
The perception and perspective aspect of life.
Right.
It's how you see something. You were saying to me on the last podcast, how do you stay calm? It's because it's not that I just see actually what is actually happening, and my perspective changes straight away, because I actually see what's happening. I know when I'm interacting wrongly, or I get aggressive, or I do this, or I do that, because I'm not looking at actually what's happening. And that goes back to that, doesn't it? Like, if your perception of what happened on the podcast was not the perspective of what actually did happen, but you perceived it as being that, and I think that's the key to anyone's clarity of memory, is just that. Because you muddy the waters to make your perception look better,
or worse, for some unknown reason.
Yes, or worse.
That's the annoying thing. I wouldn't mind if it was better. If I was the sort of person that went around going, God, you are amazing on that, you were so funny, and then you watched it back and you're like, well, no, actually you weren't that funny and you weren't that amazing. But with me it's the other way, but only at the moment. And this is what I just wanted to say, is I also read that when you are grieving, grief comes out in so many ways. Physically, you can get aches, you can get heart palpitations, you can get anxiety attacks, you can get your toes start cramping. And one of it gave this massive list, and one of the top psychological side effects of grief is brain fog, just
your perception goes foggy.
yeah.
Which a lot of people they're like that all the time. But
Do you know what the other thing as well? And again, this is a completely different conversation, but on the same vein, is why is it when someone dies, you make them into this super person, as in, I'm not saying my mum wasn't a super person, but you don't remember any of their faults. You only remember everything good, everything good, everything good.
yeah.
Like, what's all that about? What's...
I don't know whether that's quite a sweeping statement, because some people only look at the faults all the time.
of people who have
and
died?
try and say, oh, well, actually, let's look at the good stuff. I can understand that, because then you don't want to, sort of disregard their memory as such, as of what they were. So you try and look at the good things that they did all the time.
I don't even mean that though, Brian. I don't mean just look at the good thing. I mean, my mum was, I flipping worshipped the ground she walked on. I don't mean that.
Yeah.
But Mum had her faults.
Yeah, as everyone does, yeah.
But I'm telling myself at the moment that, like, if I do something wrong, or I say something bad to Tess, or if I have a go at you or Sonny, I say to myself, oh, my mum wouldn't have done that. My mum wouldn't have said, and she would. I know she would.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when you're remembering that person, it's almost like torturing yourself.
Yeah.
You're being like, you put them on such a high, unachievable pedestal.
Yeah.
That adds to your grief as well.
Yes.
And my mum would be the first person to say this to me. I mean, when she would talk about her mum and her dad, she would, when they passed away, she would say, oh God, my mum was a right cow. Or my mum, she wouldn't even do it. I don't know. She would keep it real, but yeah, that's. I know you say it's a sweeping statement, but I'm just telling you the truth. It's like it's almost like my memory is playing tricks with me at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I want to sit here and go, oh, do you remember that time when your mum was really horrible to you? Or I don't mean that. I just mean it's fascinating me to watch what's going on in your head when you're processing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And if that part isn't true, then what else is true, Oh,
it's true. I agree with what you're saying.
You don't have to agree. I'm just
but it
saying.
is. Yeah, but what you're saying makes sense.
Okay.
Is what I'm trying to say. Yes. I'm trying to think of other things, and you just think, yeah. And that's the thing when we're talking like we're talking.
Yeah.
Is you tend to.
It's good talking about this, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because it's how you come over things, or something good might come out of what you've said, or help someone, and it doesn't matter if you don't get anywhere. The fact is, at least you've had a good crack at going at it, and it's just that listening to each other and being empathetic and going, oh yeah, I see that, or actually I don't quite see that in that. I never looked at it like that, but now you're saying it, then yeah, I can see why you would get upset over that, or why grief would distort that. Because it's like you say, when you were talking about someone's memory and you don't want to do that, and I'm like, yeah, your mum was a bugger. She was
human.
Such a stubborn sod.
Yeah.
On certain things, you just think, oh, I just want to walk out of the room, because it would like no, and she would be so adamant that she was not going to change on that, and never ever get rid of her record player, but then she had a CD player before you knew it. That type of thing.
Yeah.
And that we all do things like that, but she was a bugger with some things. But you don't want to touch on it too much, because you just think, oh no,
because you feel guilty.
You just like bring her back up, put her back here.
I know.
Yeah.
And I think this has got something to do. I think this is a whole grieving thing. Same with my dad.
Yeah.
My dad, if anyone knows that story about my dad, alcoholic, left my mum. I bloody loved him. He was my dad, but he wasn't perfect. Of course he wasn't. We didn't have this massively close relationship. He never came to New Zealand to see me. He wasn't, but he was my dad. But it was, again, you put this, you put them on this higher level ground now that they're not here, and you're trying to reach that. all the time. And I'm looking back now, I'm just talking as I'm thinking now, so please just bear with me. But I'm looking back at my thoughts about that podcast and me beating myself up and going, you were just too this, you were that, you swore too much, no one's going to like you, blah, 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 blah. And not only that, your mum and dad wouldn't have been happy with that. And it's just like this annoying story. And I'm coming through it because the best thing is I'm aware of it and I'm talking about it. So my absolute hope to you listening to this podcast is if you feel the same and you're going through this, you're not alone, because that is the one thing that we hope to, or I certainly hope that this podcast provides, is that feeling of, oh, thank God for that. I'm not losing my marbles. I'm not, I'm not the only one going through it. Or even, but have you ever had a time where you've thought, I was like that, and then, you look back, or you watch a podcast, or you ask someone's opinion? Well, I'll tell you what, the other day, oh, no, go on, answer the question, sorry.
Every day, Liz.
Oh, she's still there on the rocks. She's going to get sunburnt, she's sitting right in the sun. So go on, answer the question. Have you ever...
Ever what?
Do you remember what I just said to you, or is your memory that bad?
So I said it's every day, mate.
I said, is there ever been a time that you have just thought, oh my God, why did I behave like that? Or what did I say? And then you've talked to someone about it, or even better, you've made a video and you watch the video back and you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was, or I wasn't like that at all.
Yeah. I mean, to just try and pick one out the sky would be almost impossible to do. But, you have those moments even when you're on your own and you just think of something and you start to flush up because you're just like, oh God, I was such a dick. I said that, I was trying to be funny, or something like that.
When? Give me an example.
I don't know, that's why I say I can't remember. Or maybe when I was, young, when I was 18 and working in a bar in the mum's and dad's hotel. And I was quite cocky and I was quite trying to be the cool, funny guy. And I would say something, and then I go into the kitchen, my dad would turn around and say, just you want to be careful with what you're saying because it's not that funny. And then you're like, oh shit, have I upset someone? So...
Yeah, but that's different. That's someone putting you, you being young and cocky.
That's those things. Was it that bad? Like, as you're saying, but then you think back of all the other things and, I said that to them, so maybe it wasn't that funny. But it brings you down a peg or two. Maybe it's not a great thing, how to put it. I mean, he wouldn't have said it in that so bluntly, but he would have just gone, something like that. But then, see, I changed that to go, no, he said it like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so it's something like that, and he wouldn't have said it in that way. He would have been more like me, because he's... he was a good dad, and he still is a good dad. Yeah, he's still alive.
He is a good dad.
So it's those things. Or you can turn around and go, oh, I wish I'd said that. I should have said that, and you don't, because you just think, no, I didn't. But I don't. I'm just trying to say I can't pick something.
Shall I give you an example?
Yes.
Shall I? This is why I wanted to say, because I see this in you quite a lot.
Right.
So the other day when we made that podcast about the first podcast that we did like this. Remember we went to the cafe and they had the drill and all the rest of it?
Yep.
And I got you to put that podcast, before we published it, I got you to put that podcast on the phone.
Yeah.
And I went down to the beach. Stop yawning.
Right.
Is it boring you?
No, because I'm not breathing, that's why.
Why aren't you breathing?
Because I'm getting hot.
Panicking?
No, because I'm thinking of older stuff, so you stop breathing. So that's why I yawned. That's my way of saying, hey,
why did you stop breathing? Just because you were thinking of old stuff?
Because you stop.
Why?
And you hold yourself still. Because that's what you do when you think of those old memories. Things like that. You don't breathe properly. And that's why it's not good, though.
Why do you think? What's not good? To go back to old memories?
Well, that's what naturally we all do. When you think of something that's uncomfortable, you stop and you shallow breathe while you're doing it.
Were you uncomfortable?
About what? What, about being in my dad's bar?
What?
About being in my dad's bar?
Yeah. Was it because you nicked the money out of the tip jar?
No. God.
Tell the story how you nicked the money out of the tip jar, right?
No. Just needed £10.
I'll have that £10.
I'll have that. That's mine. I'll work for that anyway. Yeah, someone I was on.
That's why you're not breathing.
Yeah, but that's what you do, and that's why, you know, you've got
You've gone bright red.
because I'm hot. You're shining that hot.
Okay, all right, okay.
It's boiling.
Why don't we just get out and stand by the car then?
No, because it's
She's still there,
that's
though.
in the sun.
Is she still there?
Yeah, she's there for the day, isn't she?
Yeah.
You know?
Right, so what I was going to say is you downloaded that podcast onto the phone for me.
Right.
And I went and listened to it. I lay on the beach and listened to it. And
That's right.
honestly, I lay there and I thought, who is this man talking to me?
Yeah.
You were giving such solid advice and such kindness and just loveliness. And I finished the podcast. So I took the AirPods. You were laying next to me on the beach on your lounger. And I took the AirPods out and I said to you, bloody hell, Brian, you're amazing. Didn't I?
Yeah.
And you went, what? Why? And I said, I've just listened to that podcast we did a couple of weeks ago. And you're so brilliant at listening and giving. And you said to me, why? What did I say? And I said, it's not what you said. You're just so patient and you're so grounded. And I was telling you all these things.
Yeah.
But you actually can't see that.
No, you can't.
Well, that it's you telling yourself something different than what is actually here then.
No.
That's perception and perceptive.
Yes, what that
Perspective.
I think what that comes down to is when you're. Goes back to what we started the conversation with almost. It's like, you know, you say something, but you don't really remember saying it or what I actually said. And people have emailed you since and said, oh, this, and this.
We all need a Brian in our life.
Yeah, but, and so you think, well, what did I say?
And you went back and listened, didn't
I did.
you?
I went back and listened to it 2 days ago.
And?
When I was working out. It took me 2 days of working out to do it because it's such a bloody long podcast.
I thought you were going to say it's such a boring podcast.
Yeah, but again, I can't remember really now what I said.
Oh.
Because I don't commit it to that side of the memory because it's just like, and I was listening to it and I was going, oh yeah, I remember saying that now. And then and you're preempting what you're going to say next. But I still listen to it for the fact that, yeah, sometimes you do think, oh, who is that talking? But because you're in the moment when you're listening, well, not listening to it, when you're actually in the actual podcast itself. So I'm listening to you, but thinking, well, I don't want to say this, I don't want to say that, I'm going to say that. And I think this might just help you if I say this, hopefully. And it's not trying to give you advice because you're not asking for advice. I'm just trying to give you the different perspective of it, like, you know. And I still don't believe it's me when I hear it, but I know it's me because you know it's, and you remember it when you're hearing it. But if you ask me to say now what actually was the podcast about and what was the bit, I'd be going, I don't know, you'd have to cue me.
Okay, so just hold that thought. So you just said, I still don't believe it's me when I hear it. And you did say that to me. You listened to the podcast and you said, who is that? Like, you know,
it's not in a stranger way,
no,
like who's that person talking, but it's
sometimes
just,
you say,
yeah,
and we both do, you know, sometimes we'll watch a video and we're like, God, who are they?
Yeah.
You know, that's not us.
Yeah,
But
especially if it's 2 years ago, you're like, oh, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, but even the Paris one, when I watched it the other day, I was like,
yeah,
who is that?
Yeah.
So here's what I want to ask you. If you look at that or you listen to that and you say, who is that? You know, like, who's this guy giving this advice? This patient, solid, wise, experienced, kind person. Who is that? You've just said.
Yeah.
Sometimes who do you think you are?
I don't think it's a case of who do you think you
No,
are.
if that's
I know
not
you
you,
can certainly say
who is
yeah,
you?
but
Who do you tell
that's
yourself?
what I said. You know it's you, but it's almost like it's a hard one, isn't it? It's a bit like watching an old home movie of yourself, you know, with an old VHS or something, like, you know, a cine camera type thing of when you were younger, when you were 24 years old, and it's just like you actually remember it when you see it. And you know it's you, but you can't remember the day it was.
Yeah, but we're not talking about a
no.
Cine Camera 24. I just answered the question.
Yeah.
If you listen to a podcast 2 days ago, and you turn around and say, "Who is that?"
Yeah.
Who are you? Who do you tell yourself you are?
Or every day. No, yeah, I am me, is who I am. I know.
But how do you describe yourself?
Well, I don't really understand the question of how do you describe yourself, because it's just me.
Okay, but so...
Well, how do I want people to see me?
No, not how do you want... No, not how do you want people to see you. How do you see yourself? So the self that is you...
Yes.
Because you're there on a microphone, on a video, everyone can see it.
Yeah.
Everyone emails and says, he's patient, he's this, he's kind, he's got a good listener, what a solid guy. And then you listen to it and you say, who is that? So if you don't know who that is,
yeah,
just try and stay with me here. If you don't know who that is, who are you telling yourself you are?
But I'm just being a human being, just being a nice person. That's all I want to ever be, and that's what I've said umpteen times. I just want to be that person and not just be there for people, as in just be there. And so that is someone to listen to give you time. That's all it is. But I don't look at it, I can't, if you're asking me to say who am I don't not understand what you want me to say.
I don't want you to say anything, I'm just asking
but
the
I've got
question.
nothing inside me that just goes, oh, I'm this person, I'm that stereotypical that, or I'm this, or I'm that. I just, yeah. Isn't that funny how I don't look at it who I am like that? Because I don't really, if I said to you, who are you?
Well, I can answer the question perfectly for you, but I don't want it to be about me.
You've got the thing of what you want to say. I'm just looking at it as, who am I? I'm just your husband. That's it.
No, you're not just my husband.
I am.
No, you're not.
It is. It's simple.
You're not. I know,
it doesn't have to be complicated, but it's making it sound complicated to me now. It's like, who am I? It's like, I don't know. This is what you want me.
Don't panic, right? It's just, you know.
It's not. I'm not panicking.
You are.
I'm not.
You are.
I'm not
you are.
panicking.
I can see you are.
It's not panic. It's just. It's a bit of a, who are you?
If you see yourself and you are there and people are emailing you and you see this
but that's what I say.
patient, wise, calm, solid, grounded person, and you say, who is that? Right? You don't recognise yourself.
Right.
Then who are you?
So
who are you telling yourself you are?
What I'm trying to say is, for the 10 minutes I was doing that, yeah, that's, yes, I know it's me, but you go, who is that? Because 20 minutes later when you drive around the corner, you're giving someone the finger. And it's not the same person, is it? It's just the situation's changed. That's all I'm trying to say. Is like, I can't say who you are. I can't say who I am. I know who you can see what I'm trying to say here.
I know.
It's just, I think what it is, because we live this life which is going quite fast through our head, it's when you stop and you talk with someone and you interact with someone, it's a different person is there, and it's so nice to actually see yourself that you can do that. I think that's what it is. That's what maybe you think, who is that? Because it does blow you away sometimes when you hear something coming out of your mouth and you think, where did that come from? But that's because you're in the moment with the other person, and so that's, you're feeling what they're going through and you're just going, okay. So you don't see yourself as that all the time, because why can't you be like that all the time? Well, you can't, because you can't be like that all the time. Things change, things happen in your body, different hormones are being released at that time, and the cortisol's up there, the dopamine's there, all of the...
But why can't you see yourself? This is my question.
Yeah.
Why can't you see, like, as in, this is a general question, this isn't just to you. Why can't we see ourselves as other people see us?
Yes.
Why can't we do that?
Because your ego gets in the way. And, and that's the biggest drive for most things, is people's egos and stuff. Look at me, I was great in that. Or,
no, I think it's the opposite.
Yes,
I think it's the opposite.
You don't say to yourself you were great in that. You just think,
I think it's the opposite. I think when people say, oh, Brian, you're this, you know, you're so solid, you're calm, you're patient. Oh, Liz, you're energetic, your energy, your charisma, you're funny, you don't, and you see the opposite. You're like, no, I'm annoying, I keep interrupting, I do this, I do that. No, I'm not patient, I'm not, and it's, do you know what, and I'm going to get this completely wrong now, the quote, but it is something like, you're not who you think you are who you think that other people think you are. There you go, I didn't get it right.
Yeah,
I didn't get it
right.
wrong,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
I think that people think I'm annoying, therefore I think I'm annoying.
Yeah.
No, people think I'm energetic. You know?
Yeah.
In fact, you shouldn't even think about that. You should just be
You. There you go.
But
Which is what I said. I'm just me.
but yeah.
Which I changed from
No, you
minute to minute.
fluked that, Brian.
I didn't fluke
You have. You didn't
I
answer the question.
I did.
You didn't.
Like I said, it's too
You
hard to
backed
answer.
your way out of it.
I didn't, and I'm not trying to duck out of it. I just agree with what I tried, was trying, what I said is, I can go around the corner in the car and I'm angry at someone. And they said, where did that come from? Where's the wise old chap gone? You know? But it's true, isn't it? And if like we're going to get on the plane and we're late, I'm going to be a completely different person. I'm not going to go, oh, you know what? The story, and we haven't talked about that, which we want to talk about.
What?
You know,
We're not talking about it now because it's too late.
No, I know it's too late, but the trip to Athens and back.
Oh no, we're going to do a video about that.
We're going to do a video on that one, yeah.
So it's not too emotional, so I don't mind getting the camera out.
No, because
I wish we'd videoed this
but
actually.
That
this
was a
bit of
stressy day,
difficulty.
and that's a different Brian.
No, I didn't see a different Brian. But we'll talk about another. No.
You did.
Why?
Well,
because I started crying. That had nothing to do with that. But no, and it had nothing to do with that. But see how you're telling yourself? You're thinking, I was a right tosser that day we went to Athens, and that's why Liz started
I
crying.
was a tosser, Liz.
Well, you did. You said I was right. you just thought in your head.
It's more of a wanker.
Anyway, we will tell you the story one day about Athens and the trip and me crying, all the rest of it, me crying and stuff, because that is a really good story. But I think we should video that, because I don't know why. It's
because it was a funny day in the end.
Do you know what? We've had some lovely feedback about these audio podcasts.
Yeah.
We're gonna round up now because we've got to get back, because it's time's ticking on and we want to keep it under an hour. Yeah. But we've had some lovely feedback, and I just want to say thank you so much. I was planning on reading everyone's name who emailed me. I think there was about 15 people in total, which for the size of our audience is fantastic. The fact that you would reach out people have reached out via email, via Voxer, via YouTube comment, but mostly by email. And I just want you to know, if you were one of those people, what a gorgeous soul you are. You really are.
And these aren't short emails.
No.
They're full. Yeah, it would take me 2 days to write one of these emails.
Yeah, and to those who didn't, I know why you didn't, because I don't, and that's why I've got so much respect and gratitude for the people that did, because I know how hard that is. So thank you just for so much, for your support, for being here, for tuning in, for listening, and for hitting reply and sending an email.
Yeah.
We really hope that you've loved this by the sea chat.
Yeah,
it's been really good actually, hasn't it?
Not
Right?
on the bench, just the car.
I know.
In the car, so back to the sun, and the door open.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get on the bench.
So we're going to go home now, get something to eat, and start our day. Yeah. So again, if you want to email Liz at It's a Drama, I read every email, I answer every email. If you want to reach out and chat, just say hello. I would love to hear from you. And if you haven't signed up for the Front Row newsletter, where I really do open my heart in those newsletters, and I would love to have you as one of my friends in that newsletter. If you're listening to this, you've probably already signed up for it, but if you haven't, you can go to It's a Drama, www.itsadrama.com/front row, and sign up for the newsletter. But I've loved this. It's been such a good conversation.
Yeah, it's been good, because you tend to think you're not getting anywhere, but we did. We got, we got through quite a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
there.
we did. Yeah.
And in the way we get through things, like we do most things, and talk about stuff, just generally. But yeah, I think the big thing is like you never know what's around the corner, and it's just to keep moving.
What's your wise takeaway for today, Bri?
It's the old saying there's of slow, smooth. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. There you go.
What's that got to do with anything that we've just talked about?
It's about going through your life of just slowing down a little bit and just listening and taking it as best you can instead of racing through this life that we do. And I've got to get to the next thing. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. Got to. You know, and you can go back 4 or 5 months of podcasts and you listen to how stressed I was getting when we were getting ready to go because you're under the hammer to get moving and moving. And it's not until you move and step back from it you realise, yeah, that you need to just slow down a little bit, you know, because it doesn't go. Things don't happen any quicker, but you're trying to push it in your mind to make it happen and get more done. And you got to breathe and just let it go, you know.
And my advice would be, and I don't often give advice, but I'm going to give advice. My advice would be the next time you have a thought and that thought pops into your head and it says, oh God, you are a right old bag when you said that, or you were nasty when you said that, or you shouldn't have said that, that people are not going to... You've got to just stop and say to yourself, is that the truth? Mm-hmm. Is this the truth?
Yeah.
Is this story helping me? Because that's what I'm going to learn to do. I'm going to learn to say, is that the truth, Liz? No, it wasn't the truth. Just remembering that people can't see inside your head. You might be a psycho in your thoughts. See, my advice isn't as wise as yours.
We're all psychos in the head, you know. But it's what part of the brain are we listening to today? Yeah.
My advice to you is put your hands on top of your head.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to do, Patagate, and just press down really hard. And the thoughts won't come out and be reality.
If you squeeze your head hard enough, it'll keep them in there. Yeah, put your hands over your ears and you see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't forget, my heart beats with yours. Thank you so much for giving us your ears today. Sending you so much love, and I will speak to you soon.
Yep, so kia kaha, stay strong, stay true. And you never know what's round the corner, Liz. So I'll let you drive home. See you in a bit.
Okay, bye.
Bye.